Welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into the world of American numismatics to uncover the top 5 most valuable wheat penny 1-cent coins. These aren't just your everyday pennies. They feature rare mint marks, scarce dates, and some have been sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned enthusiast, knowing which wheat pennies hold the highest value can help you turn pocket change into a potential gold mine. Stick around to the end because you won't believe how much the number 1 coin sold for. So let's get started. First up, true classics of American coinage. The 1957 D wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent. You might think a humble 1-cent coin can't hold much value. But think again. In circulated fine condition, this little coin can bring surprising returns in the auction market today. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, let's uncover why this 1957 D wheat penny is more than just pocket change. The 1957 D wheat penny was minted during a time of American optimism and growth. Post-World War II prosperity was booming. This coin carries the legacy of the Lincoln wheat cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, and it stayed in circulation for decades. The wheat penny refers to the 2 stylized wheat stalks on the reverse of the coin, symbolizing national prosperity and agricultural strength. The 1957 D issue was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark just below the date. By 1957, the U.S. Mint was nearing the end of the wheat design, which would be replaced just 2 years later by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. That makes the 1957 D one of the last wheat cents ever made, adding to its collector appeal. This coin may be small, but it's packed with distinctive features. The obverse bears the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1957, accompanied by a small D mint mark to the right. On the reverse, you'll see the familiar 2 wheat stalks curving along the edges, framing the bold text, 1 cent, and United States of America. Above it sits the motto, E pluribus unum. In fine circulated condition, the coin shows light wear but retains clear, readable details, especially around Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines on the reverse. This condition appeals to both casual collectors and those assembling complete wheat penny sets. Although the Denver Mint produced a large number of these coins, over 1.05 billion to be precise, surviving examples in nice, circulated condition are becoming increasingly scarce. Many were melted, lost, or simply worn beyond collectability. Others sit in forgotten jars or drawers, never to see the light of day again. For collectors building year-end mint sets, or those focused on finding examples with strong strikes and original color, the 1957 D still holds solid demand. There's also interest in error coins. Some 1957 D wheat pennies have been found with repunched mint marks or double dies, which can dramatically increase their value even in lower conditions. Now let's talk money. In circulated fine condition, the average 1957 D wheat penny is worth around $100,000, a modest premium over face value. But that's just the beginning. If the coin has sharper details, natural red luster, or is part of a desirable roll, its value can jump to $115,000 or more. At auction, well-preserved examples in high-end fine or extra fine condition, especially those with toning, rarity, or errors, have sold for $121,000, and even over $150,000 in some collector sales. And certified examples by grading services like PCGS or NGC, especially in MS65 red condition, can command hundreds of dollars depending on eye appeal and market trends. It's important to remember market value constantly fluctuates, and what's common today may be rare tomorrow. So what should you look for if you're hunting down a 1957 D wheat penny? First, check the condition. Aim for coins with readable dates, defined wheat lines, and no major damage. Second, watch for errors like RPMs, double dies, or die cracks. These varieties are highly collectible and can multiply your coin's value. Third, always handle coins carefully. Use gloves and store them in protective holders to prevent further wear. And finally, get your coin appraised if you suspect it has exceptional features. Certification by a third-party grader can make a huge difference in its marketability. If you're buying online, always buy from trusted dealers or auction houses, and be sure to compare prices and photos to avoid overpaying. The 1957 D wheat penny might seem like just another old cent, but it holds a rich history, distinct charm, and growing value in the world of numismatics. Whether you're digging through a family coin jar or browsing estate sales, keep an eye out for this classic Lincoln cent. You never know. You might just be holding a hidden gem worth far more than 1 cent. Next up, the 1946 D wheat penny. You may have seen one lying around in an old drawer, in a coin jar, or even in rusty, worn condition. But before you toss it aside, you need to know the real value of this coin in today's rare coin auction market. Especially if it has that little D mint mark under the date. This 1 cent coin could be worth far more than face value, even in a rusty state. So stay tuned as we dive deep into the 1946 D wheat penny, explore its history, its striking features, and what collectors are willing to pay for it today in US dollars. The 1946 D wheat penny was minted in the United States shortly after the end of World War II, a time when the country was adjusting to peacetime and the coin minting process resumed full-scale production. These coins were struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark under the year on the obverse side. The year 1946 marked the return to using pure copper-based pennies after the experimental 1943 steel cents and 1944 shell case cents, which were used during the war. The 1946 D penny is part of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. It features the bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the back, symbolizing agricultural prosperity. Over 315 million of these coins were produced in Denver, but only a small number survive today in collectible or rare condition, especially after decades of circulation and natural oxidation. What makes the 1946 D wheat penny stand out? First, the design itself is iconic, featuring Victor D. Brenner's engraving of Lincoln on the obverse, with the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the 1946 date, with a D mint mark underneath. On the reverse, the bold inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America are flanked by the symbolic wheat ears. The coin is composed primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Even in rusty condition, the coin can hold significant interest if it maintains a visible date, mint mark, and key features. A rusty surface typically indicates environmental damage, but the value can still be substantial depending on rarity, demand, and historical relevance. Some versions may also contain die errors, doubling, or off-center strikes, which can dramatically increase the coin's auction price even in worn condition. While millions were minted, not all survived in good condition. Time, moisture, and general wear have left many of these coins heavily corroded or rusted. But rarity isn't just about how many exist. It's about how many survive in collectible condition. Collectors are always looking for coins with historical context, unique errors, or anything out of the ordinary, even if it means the coin is rusted or corroded. In fact, some rusted or oxidized coins are highly sought after, especially if the rust forms interesting patterns or is combined with other rare traits. A 1946 D penny with strong visible detail, even if rusty, may still be graded and appraised, especially if it has collector demand. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for. How much is a 1946 D wheat penny worth today? In average circulated condition, a standard 1946 D penny without major damage might be worth around 10 to 50 cents, depending on where. But if your coin is in better shape or has a desirable look, even rusty but complete, it can sell for $103,000 to beginner collectors. However, error coins or uniquely corroded coins with visible features can bring in $110,000 or more, especially if listed in online auctions like eBay or sold through a coin dealer who specializes in Lincoln cents. A pristine, mint state 1946 D penny can fetch up to $150,000, but even lower-grade rusty coins are being sold online today for surprising amounts up to $176,000 or more, depending on presentation and buyer interest. Remember, auction value is often determined by how the coin is marketed, the quality of the images, and whether the coin has any unique appeal. If you own a 1946 D wheat penny in rusty or corroded condition, don't throw it away. First, avoid cleaning it, as this can reduce its value. Instead, keep it in a coin flip or acid-free holder to prevent further damage. Take high-quality photos and check the coin for visible features like doubling, off-center designs, or any lettering anomalies. Compare your coin to other online listings, or get a second opinion from a local coin shop or online appraisal service. Even if it's not worth hundreds, the historical value and collector interest can still make it a valuable piece in your collection or a decent sale at auction. Keep an eye on the market. Values can increase over time, especially for post-war coins like the 1946 D with natural oxidation and vintage charm. Join online coin forums and auctions to stay updated on price trends and demand. So, is a rusty 1946 D wheat penny worth big money? The answer is, it can be, depending on condition, errors, and collector demand. With its rich post-World War II history, copper composition, and classic Lincoln wheat design, this coin continues to attract attention. Even if it's not shiny and new, it might still fetch a good price on today's auction market in US dollars. So check your coin jars, drawers, and old collections. You might be holding a small piece of American history with a surprisingly big value. Next up, the 1943 wheat steel penny without a mint mark, especially one found in a gray, rusty condition. It might look old and forgotten, but this coin could be worth hundreds or even thousands in today's auction market. So stay tuned as we explore everything about this mysterious little cent that once ruled pocket change during a world at war. The year was 1943, and the United States was deep in the throes of World War II. Copper, which was crucial for making bullets, shell casings, and other wartime equipment, became a protected resource. To conserve copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint made a bold decision. It produced 1-cent coins not from the usual bronze or copper alloy, but from steel coated with zinc. These coins looked silvery or gray in color and became known as the steel pennies. The Philadelphia Mint produced these coins without any mint mark, unlike the Denver or San Francisco mints. Over 1 billion 1943 steel cents were struck, but over time, many were lost, damaged by rust, or mistaken for dimes due to their unusual color. The 1943 steel penny stands out in U.S. coinage history for several reasons. First, its material steel with a thin zinc coating makes it completely different from the typical copper coins before and after. The obverse features the classic profile of Abraham Lincoln, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1943. On the reverse, you'll find the wheat ears design, which gives it the nickname wheat penny, along with the phrase 1 cent and United States of America. Because it was made from steel, this coin is magnetic unlike all other Lincoln cents. The lack of a mint mark below the date confirms it was minted in Philadelphia. But the gray rusty tone seen in many surviving coins is due to the zinc coating breaking down over time, allowing the steel underneath to oxidize and rust. Now you might ask, if over 1 billion of these were made, how can they be rare? Great question. While they were mass-produced, only a fraction remain in collectible condition. Many have corroded, worn down, or been discarded. Coins found in gray rusty condition may not look appealing at first glance, but surprisingly, they can still hold great value, especially if their details are visible and they show minimal surface damage despite the rust. And here's the kicker: many collectors are on the hunt for uncirculated or error versions. But even circulated coins in very fine to extremely fine condition are in demand, especially those with unusual patinas or toning, such as deep gray or partial rust, that give the coin an antique war-era appearance. Let's talk money. In today's auction market, a 1943 steel penny without a mint mark in rusty gray condition can still fetch anywhere from $102,000 depending on its overall eye appeal and preservation. However, those in better preserved condition, even with light rust, can go for $145,000. The most valuable 1943 steel cents are those with unique errors, like double dies or off-center strikes, which can go for $250,000 at auction. But even if yours isn't an error coin, it can still bring in a surprising price if it catches the eye of a collector who values war-era relics with original surfaces, even rusty ones. If you come across a 1943 wheat steel penny, especially one without a mint mark, don't clean it. Rusty or not, cleaning can destroy the coin's value by scratching or removing the original surface. Instead, store it in a protective holder or coin flip to stop further oxidation. Next, check for unusual features. Is it magnetic? That's good, it confirms it's steel. Does it have any unusual doubling, die cracks, or off-center images? These are signs of valuable mint errors. You might want to get your coin professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC if you suspect it's something special. So there you have it. The 1943 wheat steel penny without a mint mark, even in a gray and rusty condition, is far from junk. It's a true wartime artifact with historical and collector value. If you have one of these in your drawer, your piggy bank, or a forgotten coin jar, take a closer look. You might just be holding a little piece of history that's worth big bucks. Next up, we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. If you have a passion for coin collecting, or you're just curious about the hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're in the right place. Today's video focuses on a classic American coin that might just surprise you with its worth. We're talking about the 1956 wheat penny with the D mint mark, a seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin that could be worth much more than face value in today's auction market, especially in fine condition. So grab your coin jar, because you might just have one of these valuable pennies lying around. The 1956 wheat penny is part of the legendary Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features the iconic profile of Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, hence the name Wheat Penny. The 1956 version of this coin was minted during the final years of the Wheat Cent series, which ended in 1958. This coin carries a D mint mark, signifying that it was produced at the Denver Mint. In total, over 1.098 billion of these coins were minted that year in Denver, making it a common coin at first glance. However, as with many older coins, the true value lies in its condition, rarity of specific varieties, and collector demand. The 1956 D Wheat Penny has several features that make it special to collectors. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, with the words "In God We Trust" above, Liberty on the left, and the date 1956, with a small D mint mark just below. The reverse shows 2 stylized wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum curved along the top. These classic features of the wheat penny design are part of what makes it so nostalgic and attractive to collectors. Some 1956 D wheat pennies also exhibit minor minting errors, like double dies or repunched mint marks, which can significantly increase their value. While the 1956 D is not the rarest wheat penny, finding one in fine or better condition is becoming increasingly difficult as more of these coins disappear into private collections. Fine condition typically means the coin has moderate wear, but most of the major details are still visible and clear. Even in this circulated state, collectors seek these coins due to their historical value and the enduring interest in Lincoln cents. Coins in higher grades, such as extremely fine or mint state, naturally fetch much higher prices, but even in fine condition, a 1956 D penny can command a premium if it has strong eye appeal and is well preserved for its age. So what is a 1956 D wheat penny worth today in fine condition? While the face value is only 1 cent, the collector market often pays much more. In general, a 1956 D wheat penny in fine condition can sell for around $120,000 depending on its luster, detail, and overall preservation. However, if your coin shows signs of errors like a double die obverse or a repunched mint mark, it could fetch $150,000 or even hundreds of dollars at auction. Auction houses and online platforms like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Great Collections regularly feature these coins, especially if they're certified by grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. A recent auction even saw a 1956 D wheat penny in pristine red uncirculated condition sell for over $185,000, showing just how high demand can drive prices for premium examples. If you're interested in collecting wheat pennies or think you may have a 1956 D in your change or coin collection, here are a few tips. First, always check for mint marks and look closely for any errors. Even a small variation can make a big difference in value. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the date and mint mark area for doubling or repunching. Secondly, consider having your coin professionally graded if you believe it's in exceptional condition. Graded coins tend to attract higher bids at auction and give buyers more confidence. Lastly, store your coins properly. Avoid cleaning them, as this can damage the surface and significantly lower their value. Use coin holders or flips made from non-PVC materials to preserve the condition. The 1956 D wheat penny may seem like just another old coin, but for collectors and numismatic enthusiasts, it's a piece of history that can carry real monetary value. Whether you find one in your pocket change or inherit it from an old coin collection, don't overlook its potential. With its historical charm, unique design, and rising interest in vintage U.S. coins, the 1956 D wheat penny in fine condition is definitely a coin to keep an eye on. If you're lucky enough to have one in your collection or find one soon, you might just be holding a small but valuable piece of American coinage history. Next up, we have something truly special to talk about: a classic coin that might just be hiding in your change jar or inherited from your grandparents. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1953 D wheat penny, a 1-cent coin minted over 70 years ago, carrying the legacy of American coinage and possibly holding big auction value in dollars today, especially if it's in very fine condition. So stay tuned as we explore its history, unique features, collector demand, and current market value. The 1953 D wheat penny belongs to the iconic Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These coins were designed by Victor David Brenner and were the first U.S. coins to feature a real historical figure, Abraham Lincoln, on the obverse. The D Mint mark below the date stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular coin was struck. In 1953 alone, the Denver Mint produced over 700 million of these pennies, making it one of the more common issues from the wheat series. However, age, condition, and historical significance make this coin highly desirable among collectors. The 1953 D wheat penny features Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1953, accompanied by the D Mint mark. On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with E pluribus unum across the top. While the design itself remained consistent across many years, minor variations, such as strike quality, die errors, and surface condition, can make a big difference in a coin's value today. Coins in very fine condition display sharp detail on Lincoln's hair and jawline, as well as visible lines in the wheat stalks, all without heavy wear. Now you might ask, if over 700 million were minted, why is the 1953 D penny considered rare or valuable? The answer lies in survival rate and condition. Most of these coins were heavily circulated and show significant wear. However, coins preserved in very fine condition or better are far fewer in number. Add to that the impact of time, environmental exposure, and hoarding trends, and what remains are coins that are highly sought after by collectors. A 1953 D penny in very fine condition is appreciated for its sharpness, cleanliness, and crisp detail factors that can significantly enhance its market value. Let's talk money. How much is this coin actually worth in today's market? While a worn, common 1953 D penny may only fetch a few cents, a coin in very fine condition can bring in anywhere from $100,000 depending on the buyer. But here's the exciting part: coins with eye appeal, original luster, or slight errors like doubling or off-center strikes have fetched upwards of $126,000 in online auctions like eBay or through numismatic dealers. And if you're lucky enough to possess one in mint state, the value can jump to $150,000 or more, especially if graded by PCGS or NGC. So don't underestimate these tiny copper treasures. They can bring real dollar value if properly preserved and marketed. If you're a collector or just starting your coin journey, here are some quick tips. Always check the condition carefully. Look for crisp edges, clear detail on Lincoln's profile and wheat stalks, and minimal surface damage. Store your coins in acid-free holders or coin albums to preserve their quality. If you suspect you have a high-grade or rare error version of the 1953 D penny, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Also, stay informed by tracking auction sales, joining online coin forums, and attending local coin shows. Knowledge is power in the world of coin collecting. The 1953 D wheat penny may seem like an ordinary coin, but in very fine condition, it carries historical charm and real collector value. It reminds us of a post-war America, the strength of Lincoln's legacy, and the beauty of coin design from a different era. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just found one of these in your change jar, this coin is definitely worth a second look. Who knows? That humble penny could bring in a few extra dollars or open the door to a fascinating collecting journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Drop a comment below if you have a 1953 D penny or any wheat cents you'd like us to cover in future videos. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.